What is good, everybody? We are live. Welcome into another edition of Major Push Wrestling, the talk show, podcast, vodcast, whatever you want to call it, where we give wrestling the major push that it deserves. I am your host, as always, Papa Gino Nashef. Welcome into the channel. We are joined today by a great panel of guys, and we might have some more people popping on in, but the show must go on, and go on it shall. We have Dave Scheffler here. How you doing, Dave?
Doing good, Gino. Gonna be a good little rant here, I'm sure, for all of us.
Yes, it will. I fortunately have gotten some of it out of my system in the Predictions League breakdown video, but I had to stop myself because the rant is going to continue with this show. But before we get ragey, Oofman is here. Oofman, how you doing, bud?
Doing good, guys. Excited, and now I'm crazy curious about this Ragey. I'm a fan of Raging Gino, you know me. So you did a great Rage review on when we talked about the Michael movie and the critics. So I'm excited for this.
All right. Me as well. I saw Steve-O in the chat. Good evening. Welcome in, Steve-O. And if you ever want to be on with us, Steve-O, I'd be happy to have you. We love your opinions, whether we agree or disagree. If Oofman knows anything about me, he knows that we can agree, we can disagree, but we're all friends and we all love professional wrestling. And yeah, can't jump on tonight, he says. We're listening to the community. Look forward to what y'all say. Thank you so much again. So we will be looking forward to bringing all of our viewers, whether you're watching live or on demand, a bunch of guests and a bunch of opinions. Here is the issue, though. I don't expect anybody to be disagreeing with me today because of our topic. Usually we try to stay positive. There's a lot of negativity, and everybody likes to come on the internet and the IWC and all these things and just complain about stuff they don't like, whether it's movies, whether it's TV, whether it's video games. You don't see it so much with video games, but whether it's sports, whatever it is, politics, everybody just complain. Now there's a lot to complain about politics, so I get that, but we want to try and stay positive here. Unfortunately, I could not help myself. I want to talk about the humble culture in professional wrestling, particularly as it pertains to the WWE and the building or lack thereof of new stars. And we have the simple man, Noah Foster, joining us.
Speaking of stars.
Yes, this is how you build new stars. You put them over as soon as they come on the scene. That's what we did with Noah. Noah, how you doing, man?
Stressed, busy, but still keep calm and keeping it simple. I'm all right. Good to see y'all once again. Looking forward to having a good time for the next 45 minutes or so before I go into the trifecta of my night calling AEW. So, as always, having support and be here with you, Oofman, Dave, and Papa Gino. Let's get right into it.
Absolutely. And Noah was there live and in living color with me when I started my ranting and raging about humble culture, and Dave and Oofman were in the chat, so they all kind of got a taste, but here it is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Listen, in the 80s and the 90s, the early 2000s, whether you were in a wrestling community or in a wrestling company, whether you were in the some major professional sports like baseball, football, basketball, whatever, whether you were pledging a fraternity or a sorority, doesn't really matter. In the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, hazing and paying your dues and no cutting the line and all this type of stuff was super duper prevalent. We're not here to put an indictment on that. We all know that hazing is bad, but there is some statistical proof that it does build community, and it does, going through a shared experience with people helps build up your respect with each other and build that family and that community that you're having, particularly when it comes to fraternities and sororities. But no bigger than in the professional wrestling landscape. They have you starting off building the ring every day, doing the traveling, carrying the bags, not being allowed in the locker room, not being allowed in the part of the plane, shaving your eyebrow on the planes, blah, blah, blah. We all know
your
about
eyebrow
that.
on the planes? What?
We all know about the big flight fiasco with Ric Flair and all those guys having
Plane
that.
ride from hell. Yep, plane ride from hell.
Oh, that. Okay, that thing. I was like, what?
Mhm. It looks like we have Papa Gino in the chat. I didn't write that, so I'm confused as to how that's showing up. But whatever.
I wrote that on StreamYard, and
okay, all right. I was like, what is happening? I'm being hacked live.
Inception happening.
We're live, pal.
Dang. Okay, so
that was me.
Oh
that
my
was me.
gosh.
My
I get
bad.
it. You're trying to throw me, but I am so freaking focused at my anger with
Eat
what's
it,
going
man.
on.
Eat it.
Yes, it is not just the lighting in here. I am actually red in the face, like Brock Lesnar, one of the biggest offenders of their feeling of the need to do humble culture. Now, what humble culture is you've got somebody who's young and up and coming, and there's this feeling that if they don't get forced to lose, or if they don't get humbled, that they're going to be uncontrollable monster people to work with in the industry. Now, the reason why this topic is coming up, because we had not only Obafemi have to take a loss, we also had Jacob Fatu have to take a loss on that same show. Now, as I discussed with Noah, Jacob should not have been winning that match anyway, but if you're not going to book him to win, don't book the match. Anyway, that tribal combat between Jacob Fatu is very clearly the heir apparent to the bloodline, as the combative leader, the one that you're a chief in this tribe because nobody can kick your ass. That should be saved down the line for the passing of the torch. But then don't book it. They're booking these people to lose. You look at people like even the younger people like Elvira Valkyria, even Maxine Dupree. Now, she wasn't going to be the future of anything, but you have these people that you're building up. They did a really good job making Maxine over. The crowd was wicked behind her when they thought she was going to beat Becky for the title and then falls off. They had the same thing with Braun Breaker. You had the opportunity to put the strap on him against CM Punk, but no, he needs to be humble. Okay, is he a little injury prone? Maybe a lot, but still, I think that would have been the time to pull the trigger on him. You have to build these new stars. You can't just tell me that they're the future when they don't look like the future. It's like Marvel trying to tell me that Kamala Khan is the future of the Avengers instead of showing me. Nothing against Kamala Khan, love the character, all those things, but you're not building new stars like Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. They're continuing, and they're to the point where they're going back to those guys. Same thing's happening in wrestling. The people who are on top, well, we don't have, like Noah mentioned, we don't have any people to have challenge for the title because they're not building new credible stars. And when they do, like my boy Tricky 2 times missed 11 Pepper Steppa, they have him mourning the freaking gingerbread man. I am one of the biggest Trick Williams fans anybody's going to see, and I didn't even watch that because I just couldn't. I watch every second of the shows, and I didn't even watch that 45-minute end of the SmackDown thing. I don't understand why they still feel the need. They're cutting off their nose to spite their face. They're being penny wise but dollar foolish.
I like that analogy.
It's just so frustrating because you know what? 2 years from now, 3 years from now, WWE they're killing themselves. You need to build up future stars, and you need these stars to have big wins. But Mr. Gino, but Papa Gino, but Mean Gino, they had Oba beat Brock Lesnar. He's gonna be the future because they erased it all. I don't care how many F5s dude kicks out of us. I told Noah I would rather take an F5 from Brock Lesnar. I'd rather take 3 F5s from Brock Lesnar than 1 attitude adjustment from John Cena. Taking out the fact that, being able to be face to face with John Cena again would be way better than being face to face with Brock Lesnar. But I digress. Like the F5 it's a pretty safe move. Your head is kind of being cradled the whole time, and you're really just landing on you're in your hands, whatever. But to have him go after jobbers, get a big win, and then go after jobbers again, just to get essentially, okay, he looked strong in defeat. Not really. Like, we know he's strong. What is going on? OG Americano looked strong in defeat and is now better for it. Now that's how it's done. And Mark Calloway, otherwise known as The Undertaker, and I believe Pete Dunne also helped produce that match. For the love of God, you just want AAA. Bring these guys into WWE to help book your matches. What is happening? But at the end of the day, they are really starting to make these choices and have been doing this for a while. Look at Dominic Mysterio. A year ago, we did a few episodes ago, we did a future of the industry. And a year ago, we were talking about the future of the industry throughout all of our shows and all this stuff. And Dom would have been the first person out of everybody's mouth. Braun would have been second. Obo was a distant third. And don't even get me freaking started on him losing to Ricky Saints, of all people, in NXT.
Oh boy.
He was just not lost it and dropped this title. Like, it's like they can't learn from their mistakes. They're learning from their mistakes for a second, but then they forget their mistakes, and thus making the mistakes bad things. Now, listen, folks, making mistakes is not a bad thing. They are learning opportunities, and if you're not getting better, you're getting worse. But if you learn from your mistake a day after, but then a week later, completely forget and continue to make those same mistakes, I'm not going to say that. But it's not the way you're supposed to be doing things, and hopefully that there are some smart, intelligent people surrounding this. But at the end of the day, they're making money, so they don't feel like they need to change anything. When the time's for the rubber to meet the road, they will be losing money, and their future of the WWE in particular is starting to really look suspect. I get it. We got Saudi Mania coming up, and maybe this is going to be like the big reset. Like they're just trying to keep their big stars strong because that's who the Saudis want to see, and whatever. Even though Saudis paid for the show, whether you give them the big stars or not, I don't know. That's a topic for another day. I'm going to go around and see how you guys feel, because you know how I feel. I'm wearing my heart literally on my sleeves. It's just frustrating to me because Oba pays his dues. He's staying at these NXT signings until 2 freaking in the morning. Trick Williams is showing up to these NXT shows and stuff. He is talking to all of the fans waiting in line to go in. Like, these guys are very clearly here for the right reasons. This isn't just we're picking people up and putting them on the main roster like a Brock Lesnar, things like that, Randy Orton, Nepo, whatever, from back in the early 2000s. Like, these guys are homegrown talent. They're only here because of the work that you've done in NXT to build them up and make them stars. And then you're just being like, well, now you need to be humbled. Like, what? They're not coming across with the same arrogance and this same stuff because, frankly, they understand that they need WWE to build their star power. Oba's not going to go leave the WWE for UFC like Lesnar did. And it's funny that Lesnar's that big offender, and then he's essentially burying Obafemi. I could talk about this all night, and it's not fair to you guys because I know you guys have things that you would like to share. So I'm going to throw it right over to Uthman. Uthman, I know I'm not wrong, but if I'm wrong, please let me know. How do you feel about humble culture, you know, as it relates to WWE having their young stars who the crowd is behind lose in almost humiliating fashion? Go ahead.
No, I completely agree with what you said, and it's something that I typed in the chat. I think it was this morning. We were talking about this pre-show for this topic before I even knew what the topic was. I just go back to the whole thing of it's WWE just telling, first of all, one, thinking we're idiots. Number one, they think their fan base are stupid. So if they do something, it looks something new. I'm glad you brought up Obafemi and NXT. Because apparently we're not allowed to, because when Lesnar beat Oba, it's like, wow, they actually had Lesnar go over Oba, but we're also going to have Ricky Saints have a win over Oba, so he can't beat Lesnar twice, but he still has a loss on the record against Ricky Starks. Apparently we're not allowed to remember that. Again, because again, I think WWE thinks the fans are idiots. Also, another factor, it goes into the whole thing as far as getting, and yes, that is absolutely true. In an interview, he once said, I don't remember last week's storylines. And so it's like, how do you not do that? So, and another thing is, I think WWE, is when it comes to creative and all that, they've gotten burned so many times in the past where we, the fans, try to dictate where we want the storyline or the pushes to go. So you're absolutely right. Oba came in, blaze of glory. He came in, he beat Lesnar at Mania. Great. We got behind him 1000%. The crowd loved him. Everybody's doing the march. I think you guys said when you went to Backlash that instead of the Kiss cam, they had the Oba cam recording people doing the march and all that. Great.
Mhm.
That means he's over. But it's like WWE is like punishing the wrestlers for getting over because we, the fans, want to see either more of them or more of them. So like maybe, again, I predicted Oba going over Lesnar at the pay-per-view, at the PLE, excuse me, so he could be 2-0. Because again, I go back to the Raw of that video of Lesnar saying, yeah, I retired, but I couldn't let Oba's defeat dictate my destiny or whatever he said. I heard his voice, and first of all, Brock is just a great performer, number one. So there again, and again, it's also, we're all guilty of using logic in an illogical situation. So there I thought, all right, if you have Oba go 2-0 over Lesnar, that'll make Lesnar go freaking insane. He'll be this guy that could be uncontrollable like he has been in the past, which is the best Brock Lesnar, when he's just this ravage animal that even Paul Heyman can't control. Where how obsessed can Lesnar get to get his hands on Oba? Where hopefully at the SummerSlam, he'll challenge Oba one last time and he'll put his career on the line. The story was there. And I think the fans wanted to see Oba go 2-0. And when was the last time Lesnar been defeated 2-0 against somebody where he's lost 2 in a row? It hasn't really been done. And again, we spoke about, look at when Cody returned to WWE. Sure, he had this aura from AEW, but he came back, you threw him in against Seth Rollins. What happened? He won 3 in a row. That is how you push somebody. Then we can get into the whole debacle of The Rock and WrestleMania. That's another story for another day. But it's those two factors. One, I think we're dumb that it's like, well, get what happened in NXT. Forget about what happened here and there. And they just want us to act dumb. Like, no. Whatever we feed them, they're going to eat it no matter what. And number two, they hate the fact that they like the fact that we got behind Oba, but they're saying, no, we're going to dictate how Oba goes. You fans, you're going to still cheer him, but we'll have him lose here and there. Then we'll have him compete against some jobbers. And again, like I said in another chat, if you have Oba go finals of King of the Ring and Lesnar cost maybe on with his company, because that makes 0 sense. Lesnar chasing Oba. It's Oba chasing Lesnar now is the story. He challenged him on Raw. All right, cool. But Lesnar costing Oba makes complete 0 sense, which means WWE is going to do that. That's what they like to do because, again, Oba is the one chasing Lesnar. But if you have Lesnar cost Oba the King of the Ring finals, why? He already has a win over him. Lesnar should be the cocky guy, like, yeah, I beat you, ha ha ha, and no, I'm not gonna accept your challenge. So if anything, it should be Oba chasing Lesnar, not the other way around. And again, I'm glad you brought up the NXT thing because they don't like us to remember things from the past. Blake Monroe, have they mentioned that she's a former world champion? We all know they don't mention those other 3 letters, but they can still bring it up. I remember when AJ debuted at the Rumble in 2016. Michael Cole, he's been a champion and he named all the promotions, and he wrestled here in Florida, which meant TNA. And at the time, TNA was a no word in WWE. They get ridiculous when they bring up the past. Are we not supposed to remember when Jey Uso got back together with Roman Reigns a couple years ago, and Jey said, if we're going to do this together, we're equals now? And now what happened? Jey is another lapdog to Roman again. So they don't like us to remember things. Yes, I'm pushing 45, but my brain still remembers things. Praise God, it's still here. So it's frustrating. And I'm just like you, Gino, where I honestly am at the point where if they do, like I said, if they have Lesnar cost either Oba the next match or the King of the Ring, if he goes to the finals and he costs them the match, I'm going to be done because it's like this makes 0 sense for Lesnar to ruin Oba. It's Oba who should be challenging Lesnar. And again, I just think it would have made sense 2-0 over Lesnar. Lesnar goes goo goo gaga, and then we get hope maybe the retirement match. But we gotta sit back and go, all right, give us what you got, and hopefully, I just want wrestling to make at least, again, I know it's again using logic and illogical logical situation, but I just like wrestling to make at least 1% sense. Just make it make sense. Like everybody says, please, someone make this make sense. And when it doesn't, and you're instead of sitting there and you're scratching your head, going, "What is going on?" It's not like what me and Dave mentioned in our cheap plug in my video of the Attitude Era. Every Raw was like, all right, what's going to happen next week? Even Nitro. Oh, the NWO attack. What's going to happen next? Like they left you hanging here. It wasn't frustrating back then. It got you pumped. Now it's like, what did I just watch? And instead of going, give me more, I'm going, why? And I'm just like you, frustrated, PO'd if you want to, but it shouldn't be like that. It should be calm, cool, and collective. It is, at the end of the day, it is a TV show, but TV shows shouldn't be this frustrating, especially for a product that all of us and the rest of us of the crew and other wrestling fans love. We love professional wrestling. Doesn't matter the initials, doesn't matter the company or the country. We love professional wrestling, but it shouldn't be this frustrating.
It shouldn't. And, you know, I am fine with TV shows being frustrating. The outcome's not what we want and things like that. Like Game of Thrones, again, I'm doing a rewatch right now. There are so many fan favorite characters that met their demise, and I'm not going to spoil anything. Don't worry. I would never. That's like the one show that even to this day, you're not allowed to spoil. But like the stuff you didn't want to see, but eventually it paid off. Now, I'm sure they think that, you know, this will pay off. But with wrestling, it's like we don't want to see things like kind of backtracking, like having moving forward. Like, did I want to see John Cena tap out? No, it happened. I cried, and then we move forward. Hopefully we don't book Gunther like a sack of potatoes. Damn. Anyway, so they could even have Oba beat Brock for the rubber match, but guess what? It's not going. There's no possible way it's going to have the same effect that what Oba did at WrestleMania did. So this is really just reeling it back. It's really just like I don't understand where this makes booking sense or how this is going to help, because they didn't even need this match to sell Clash in Italy. You're not going to need this match to sell. Maybe you need this match to sell SummerSlam, but Brock versus Gunther's right there. So like that would sell SummerSlam. So anyway, I don't want to take the other people's opinions here. I'm going to throw it right over to Noah, the simple man. I mean, you're never afraid to tell me when I'm wrong. You watch a lot of wrestling, the most wrestling we know. So if I don't see it correctly, please let me know. But take it away. How do you feel about humble culture?
I mean, it's very, prevailing right now in the business. It's also, of course, very present right now in the business across all companies. I mean, you're not wrong. Like I said, when it's one of those things, you constantly build off of the same name value that you built the last decade versus find somebody else to be put into its place. You're just basically spinning the wheels and hoping for something different to happen. You might as well, like I said last night in the review, be putting a cube block inside a round hole, which, of course, you can't do that no matter how hard you try and force it in, even with KMY jelly. That being said, it's also one of those things right now where the only company I see trying to do that is New Japan Pro Wrestling, with the young crop of talent that they have going on right there, trying to fill in the spots of Kazuchika Okada, Hiroshi Tanahashi, who's now retired officially, Tetsuya Naito, Will Ospreay, Tomoyoshi Ii, etc., etc., etc. With AEW, I do think there is a bit more magic and promise in the youth of their roster, especially with it being such a youthful champion as MJF, that has allowed all these artists to have this spotlight. And some of them have tried to come into their own out of it. I mean, look at Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight right now thinks he's the hottest face in sliced bread. Nothing can stop him. Between going with Swerstring and MJF, of course, we haven't defended the team. Kevin Knight gets speedball Mike Bailey. But as far as WWE, at the end of the day, the top of the WWE regime will always be surrounded by Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns under the Paul Levesque era. Those are his two stars. The only reason they brought CM Punk was for the merch value and Danhausen as interest, and apparently it worked. That's why CM Punk's MMA and Danhausen is the biggest merch seller, despite the fact he's not on Monday Night Raw. With WWE, you're always going to have the same typical names at the very forefront. It is what it is. I've kind of gotten used to it. That's why I'm not upset with the booking now when I know what to expect. My expectation has been set so low when they actually breach above the water's surface. I'm pleasantly surprised. And I hope to feel that more from WWE, much like I did with Mass versus Mass, much as I hate to admit it, because Mass versus Mass was the last great thing that WWE did this calendar year, honestly, if not the first thing they actually did right this calendar year. So humble culture, we'll see how much of a family is humble, whether through the King of the Ring tournament or by the Beast incarnate Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. But I think a real telling point will be at SummerSlam, do we consider Oba Femi the next big thing? If the answer is no, then the statement and the rant that Gino you gave is prevailing. If somehow the statement is yes, then maybe they finally will listen to you and maybe they give you some hope for the future. As far as the women, it is what it is with that freaking thing. There's a reason why Fatal Influence arrived on SmackDown. They're waiting on Clash in Italy. Now, whether or not Jessie Jane wins this tournament out of nowhere and gives a WTF like being Stephanie, or they go with the EO route and maybe EO turns heel because maybe they can find a new babyface and Roxanne Perez or Lyra or so. It just comes down to the fact that WWE just has so many pawns, but they have no idea how to move them across the board to turn them into something better, like a queen or a king or a bishop or a knight in chess. If you know, you know, folks. Try me. So that being said, your rant is 100% legit, especially for the Fed. But at least in AEW, I see potential in them actually trying something different. I hope WWE can actually make me believe in the same thing before SummerSlam, if not by it.
Well, as they say, you can hope in one hand and spit in the other, see which one fills up first. And it kind of feels like hoping for WWE to make good choices. And again, we keep saying WWE because that's what it's showing on screen. But we all know when we're talking about WWE, it's really TKO at the end of the day. Everybody blames Triple H. And yeah, he's in head of creative, but he's not Vince. He didn't take Vince's job. He's not the CEO. He's not the chairman of the board. He's just a hired hand who did a great job with NXT Black and Gold when they were 1 hour episodes of television, but now having 9 hours of episode, nine hours, whatever, 7 to 9 hours of television a week, however you want to look at it. It's obvious that, maybe we're biting off a little bit more than we could chew, or he's having to kowtow out to what's being told from above. And, I wouldn't put it past Dwayne to have been super spiteful about the Cody Crybaby situation. And maybe this is all an elaborate ploy from Dwayne not Dwayne Atkinson, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, to get maybe Triple H to be looking bad here.
You can keep saying his name all you want. He's not going to appear.
Which is ridiculous because he's on the board. And if you're on the board, you have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the company that you're elected to help run is doing well. Now, financially, they are doing well. Maybe he doesn't need to come back. But there's no way he doesn't see all of this hate and vitriolic nonsense being spewed. If the bloodline situation happens and then we get Dwayne back, okay, that could be cool. But he's not The Rock to me until he comes back and pays off some of this stuff. I'm sick and tired of being like, oh, where's this going? Oh, where's it going? We forgot that it existed. That's where it's going. Hello, Kairi Sane. Hello, Karrion Kross. Hello, Sami Zayn's push. Hello, Gunther. All these situations. Now, I'm going to throw it over to Dave here. Dave has the wisdom that comes with age and owning a pet bird. So I look forward to seeing what he has to say. He has no problem. He has no problem telling me that John Cena sucks every chance he gets. So maybe he does. Maybe he's lost a few marbles along the way. I haven't
heard that yet, just for the records. But okay.
When we're together, he likes to rage bait me. Yeah. So to the point where
that's because of C-Rod. C-Rod kind of eggs me on a little bit.
So C-Rod wears his shirt tapped like a little bee, and it's Cena tapping to Gunther in black and white. He's got that shirt.
Okay, now I know. Yeah. Okay.
Well, Gino, all I can say is my wisdom, and Uthman said he's pushing 45, and they think he's forgotten. I'm pushing 60, and I haven't forgotten. And they do want to think we forget. They've dropped storylines in the last year. They dropped who attacked Jey Uso, who attacked Jacob Fatu. I mean, who was Jacob talking to before Roman's first match with him? I mean, they've dropped every story and they think we are stupid. But that's because they think they're smarter than the rest of the room. They can't read the room real well. But I'm gonna take a line out of a Family Guy and Peter Griffin. This grinds my gears, and I'm gonna tell you. And they keep talking when we keep saying Cody needs to turn heel, and we keep getting told, well, there's no big face to take his place. Well, there's no big face to take his place because they keep starting to push people and stopping it. They could have made Oba mega by beating Brock Lesnar. I said it on the review on Tuesday, and I'll say it again. It was Brock that beat Undertaker's streak. Nobody's beaten Brock. Not the same person has beaten Brock twice in a row, and they could have made Oba a mega star by having him beat Brock again. And like Uthman said, I agree with him when we talked on the predictions. It would have driven him batty, and they would have had a great story. And he's right. They're going to probably have him interfere in the King of the Ring with Oba and cost him, because they're going to want Braun Breaker against Seth Rollins 3 at the end of the tournament. And it doesn't make sense. It would have made sense if Oba won. This would all made perfect sense if they would have just done that. But they didn't. And as far as Trick, you're right. They humbled him in another way. Sammy said it right away when he faced him. He said, we need to humble you. They didn't humble him by making him lose. They humbled him by giving him the dipspit gimmick of the gingerbread man. So it's like they don't know what they're doing. And Noah said it great in the review Tuesday. He said they're killing themselves. They're gonna blow up these people that are young that they could push. And I agree with them. AEW does a great job of pushing the young people. They pushed Kyle Fletcher. They pushed Takeshita finally to where he needs to be. You know, they're trying. Kevin Knight, they're trying to push the young people. WWE doesn't get it. And I think they just think they're smarter than, like I said, smarter than the rest of the room. And they think no matter what, they're going to make $1 billion here. And they don't give a crap about what we think. They just want to see the people come into the stadiums and put money in their pockets and keep getting the CEOs and just more money upon money. And that's just unfortunately, again, how we talked about months ago, how corporations work. And as much as I saw you go off earlier, I was ready to go off. I'm sitting here steaming. I was ready to just explode because I got more animated last night in the review than I normally do. But that's because I am a passionate mark. And I'll always say it to Virtue, I'm a mark. And that's because I want good wrestling. I want good stories. I want to be entertained. And that crap that they pulled with the rope and with Gunther in that first match, it was like when we were at Backlash where Danhausen showed up with the surprise partner and took the air out of the arena for a while. That's what happened when I saw the way they beat Gunther. If you're going to push them, push them. Don't bring them over to SmackDown to lose like that. And Aaron said it on his review last night. I don't think Gunther's gonna beat Cody in the rematch either. I think he's gonna lose again, and then they'll for sure not know what to do with it. But I think now I'm running out of breath here.
No worries. Well, I think that would be the height of stupidity for Gunther to lose again. For me, it's very obvious that WWE, particularly TKO and the higher ups, they're encouraging the stretching out of storylines, right? Like Gunther should have won and we can move on to other stuff. But no, they're going to have him eventually beat Cody. But if people are talking about it's going to be Randy, this, that, and the other thing, like why book these matches if you're not going to pay off certain things, right? To me, it almost feels like WWE might benefit from an off season, right? Because then there's no, we can just wait till SummerSlam. Oh, we can just wait till Survivor Series. Oh, we can just wait till Royal Rumble. Oh, we can just wait till WrestleMania. Like if their season wasn't 52 weeks a year, maybe they would be pulling the trigger on some of this stuff, striking while the iron is hot.
Not with those, like Dave said, not with those multi-billion-dollar contracts. They want those
No,
those
they want
companies
that
want
money.
52 weeks of shows, and they're gonna get it.
Right. And I, as a wrestling fan, do enjoy that there is no off season. That's one of the things I do like about wrestling, and one of the defenses I bring to when people use the F word when talking about pro wrestling. It's like, well, name another professional athlete that doesn't have an off season, right? So, and I get it. Like, they are making money, but like it's just, and yes, ESPN gave them billions of dollars to air the product. And when they've got that guaranteed money coming in, there's really they don't need to do anything. They don't have to make ESPN happy until the end of the contract. When it comes time to resell the TV rights, that's when we start to see stuff really kicked into high gear. You look at when it went to Fox, when SmackDown went to Fox, and then went to USA. Like those transition periods and stuff, they build up a hot show so they can drive up the price. And then that money's coming in every week. You think USA is going to be like, no, we don't want it anymore? Well, you signed a contract. So, sorry, we'll go find somebody else if you don't want it. You're not getting your money back.
Right.
Same thing with Netflix. When Netflix it had that great big opening show. Hulk Hogan got booed out of the building. They had that stupid Intuit Dome with the lights and the nonsense. And we had the tribal combat. We had the Seth and CM Punk, all that stuff. They wanted to feel like, but then back to business as usual. In fact, it wasn't business as usual because now we're getting Uber commercials, 5-minute long commercials, which they also do on SmackDown TV, mind you. And there's no overhead. So it's less product because it ends at like 10:30, which is inherently not 3 hours worth of a television show, even with the commercials where SmackDown is. Thank goodness it's going back to 2 hours. But they're getting all these contracts. They've got people paying. Peacock is still paying them. NBC Universal is still paying them through Peacock for the Saturday Night's Main Event. And then they deliver that dud. We haven't seen Saturday Night's Main Event since before WrestleMania. And that's what they're giving the Peacock fans. Like, it's the same thing with these streamers and non-wrestling content. We've got you spending money every month. Every month. You're guaranteed to spend money every month, except for churn, which is where smart consumers unsubscribe from the product because there's maybe not something out. They're not going to continue watching the stuff, or they have to wait a while for another TV. Oh, I'll just unsubscribe until the next season of Stranger Things, or unsubscribe till the next season of Ted Lasso, or whatever. But you need a reason for people to keep sticking around. And WWE knows better than anybody in the Vince McMahon era, when they switched to PG, they know that us adult men, we're going to stick around. We're going to stick around. Unfortunately, we're going to stick around. We might not watch every 5 seconds, but we'll go onto YouTube and check out some of the stuff, which then enhances their view count and clicks on YouTube. Unless you're like somebody on the Esteem panel, or you're not watching WWE's direct YouTube channel, so you're able to circumvent that even more. But we shouldn't have to be circumventing stuff. Just deliver quality entertainment, which I'm not saying it's easy, but it almost feels like they're trying to deliver unquality entertainment. I know it's not a word, but they really are, and it's all about making money, and I get that. But when they start realizing that, because it's a pipeline, right? You know, just like the movie industry, you don't write a movie and then all of a sudden it comes out in theaters the next week. It takes like a year or two to get made, filmed, edited, and then marketed and then released, right? You have to have that pipeline. And if they don't have a pipeline of solid up and coming stars who matter, then when inevitably that old guard starts to leave, they're not going to have the people who are going to draw. They just aren't, which is why part-timer Reigns continues to draw, because he's the biggest thing that WWE has done, the biggest star that they've made. They got, and honestly, you're going to hear me talk bad about John Cena right now. So brace yourselves. Cena's retirement tour made WWE, and particularly TKO, who had just bought into the WWE, think that people will show up no matter what. They didn't realize how easy they had it when Cena was on the card. It's Cena's last night in your city. They didn't realize, we can just charge outrageous amounts of price for the tickets. We can just put on subpar shows. Cena's going to sell all the merch. Cena. And they didn't have a plan for when he left, because they thought it was just going to be easy like that. No, You had the opportunity to make an over tech star from Gunther. Does Gunther even have any merch to sell? Like, I'm confused. We talked to Noah.
Maybe
trying to think.
maybe side plates for your belts, I think.
That's ridiculous. Don't even
Yeah,
get me started on the side plates. Side plates are the dumbest thing ever. Have the person's name on the front of the title. What are we doing? But it's like they don't have EO merch, and she's one of the most over girls in the company. They don't have merch for these people, and they're expecting. And no wonder Danhausen's selling out every city he goes to, even if he's not on the show. You are cursed. Tampa, you are cursed. Barcelona, you are cursed. Torino, all these things. He's got the match. Like, there are ways that they could go about making money without cutting the contracts of these workers. It's frustrating. And the reason why AEW doesn't have to worry about this stuff because they're not a publicly traded company. I do fear if AEW gets big enough and they go public, and then they're going to have a board of directors and they're going to have stockholders that they're going to have to kowtow to. But for right now, they have the ability to not worry about that. And that's what makes it almost refreshingly awesome compared to the WWE.
Gino, don't think for one moment that everybody would think that Danhausen maybe got in because of Punk. Maybe that's part of it. But I think anybody who knew anything behind the scenes knew this guy was going to be a merch seller, whether he wrestled or not, and that he was going to sell a bunch of merch and make them a bunch of money.
Right. But they have merch for sale. He's got a chain that says Cursed on it. He's got multiple shirts. He's got his face mask, face paint mask. Like, he has merch to buy, right? He doesn't have his Funko Pop figures yet because it takes a while for that to get made and done all that stuff. He doesn't have his action figures yet, but they're coming. Io Sky's been with the company and being pushed to the top of the moon since before last year's WrestleMania, and nothing. I don't even know what would be her shirt, because I think Genius of the Sky is a stupid moniker inherently, because everybody does a moonsault now, and there's one girl in the company who's the prettiest moonsault. So inherently, by the name, it's a better moonsault than the over the moonsault. It's just a lot of stuff that's just, like you said, like Peter Griffin said. And I'm not saying you look like Peter Griffin, but I'm also not saying you don't look like Peter Griffin, but it really grinds my gears. So as much as we try to stay positive, as much as we love professional wrestling, and we're trying to be positive on Major Push Wrestling, this just had to be addressed. And there's no better time than having two of your up-and-coming stars lose on the same exact night. So I'm going to throw it around. Anybody else have anything that they would like to add regarding Humble Culture? This is just a one-topic show today because this is the major rage of the month topic, and
major rage.
So if there's nothing else, check out JCW Lunacy. It doesn't have Vince Russo's booking, so whether you like his booking or not, I thought it did. It does. Okay, it does have. I thought it did. Okay, so I will check that out. You're not the first person to mention checking out JCW Lunacy. I have checked it out. It's hard. It's harder to find than I thought it would be. Like the when you're on YouTube, like they don't really, the thumbnails and the stuff like that don't really draw you in, and I wasn't even sure if I was watching the right product or what I was doing. But you put it on. It's a humble production. Speaking of Humble Culture, and they're definitely doing some fun, refreshing things. And at this point, when you've been watching wrestling as long as we have, collectively over 100 years of watching wrestling between the four of us, it's nice to have some refreshing stuff to watch. But at the end of the day, I love WWE. I love pro wrestling. I'm enjoying AEW. I just want to see this stuff go in a positive direction, and not just for the bean counters, because we all saw what happened with Marvel. I mentioned Marvel earlier, when they were just get out as much content as possible. We don't care if it's good. People were going to buy. We need to keep them being subscribed. Just get it out. Ruined Marvel. Bob Chapek, who I call Bob Paycheck, really showed his ass on that one. And they had to bring back the former CEO and Bob Iger, and now he just retired, and they gave it over to a new gentleman who we don't know his name yet.
Paycheck son, take this job and shove it.
Yep. And Bob Chapek's doing fine. He got his severance package. He's doing whatever. But at the end of the day, quality matters over quantity. WWE has to do their quantity because they have it. And they just really need to put more quality into it. And honestly, I know Noah doesn't like watching the WWE Unreal and stuff, but watching Road Dogg get like shit all over for asking how these things make sense when he's in the meetings. He's like, how does that make sense? Like, why is it? And everybody's telling him, just go with it. It's almost like he's not privy to what TKO wants from them. But I was on Road Dogg's side. Like, everybody shit on Road Dogg for wanting, for being the SmackDown head writer for a short time. Oh, here we go. SmackDown's going in the tubes. And then he built up the tag teams. He had an actual tag team division with multiple tag teams involved in storylines and doing all this stuff. Like, he actually brought something. He brought something to the table. And then they fired. He left, or he got fired because of creative differences, which meant, and then now look at what we've got. So you're making me miss Road Dogg's creative. And I never thought I would say that. We've got JMT Junior 198. What they need is a little less funny segments and more ruthless era type of content, in my opinion. You know, literally, and I don't mind the funny stuff. It's just the stuff that is they're supposed to be the ruthless stuff, and the stuff that is supposed to be their big meat and potatoes content is just being not booked properly. Fact Marvel, Sanov -P4R, Fact Marvel 2013 to 2020 was perfect. Yeah, you know, they didn't have a plan after Endgame. They just didn't. And it's kind of feeling like WWE's didn't have a plan after WrestleMania 40. It's almost identical to Marvel at that point. Road Dogg was responsible for 2016 wrestling, so there's that. But at the end of the day, Road Dogg knew he had to answer to Vince McMahon. Whereas there's no one Vince McMahon right now that can say, I want somebody to give birth to a hand, or I find it funny people eating dog food and stuff like that. So yes, Road Dogg was responsible and was in that role like Triple H is now. But at the end of the day, there's people to answer to, and there was one big, damn near senile man really kind of pushing what he thought was funny, and it just wasn't working. Now there is a lot of stuff that is working.
Road Dogg was a fall guy. Road Dogg was a fall guy. He
was, and I kind of feel the same about Triple H. But with that, thank you so much, whether you guys are watching live or on demand. Yeah, you mentioned the thumbnails were lackluster to 3 months ago. So, I mean, thumbnails on YouTube sell the show. So if your thumbnails aren't popping, people aren't going to click and things like that. So we're going to throw around, do our plugs, and go watch some quality wrestling in AEW. Noah.
Wednesday night. You know what that means.
I didn't mean to startle you, Noah. Where can the people find you?
Literally in a couple of minutes, calling it live, covering it live. We cover the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. So find me if you choose. And Foster 1916 on the X and on YouTube, because I am nothing more but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! And then, of course, continue to follow us here at the Simple Studios. Of course, the Superman's brand will continue to cover the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. We'll have more interviews. We just interviewed Brittany Brooks last night, of course, from FSW. She is such a future of the business, by the way. And again, I'd like to remind you, just your live to professional wrestling too. It's as simple as that. So I'll see you guys literally in a couple of minutes for AEW. Let's freaking go. You know, I'll see you next time. Arrivederci, folks.
Yes, sir. All right, Dave, where can the people find you?
Find me on Facebook. Find me on No DQ. Find me here on Major Bush. Find me on Oofman Entertainment with Gavin with Oof. I'll get it right because I didn't last night, and I apologize, Oofman. But
good.
Thank you guys. You guys have make my world much happier than it already is, and I appreciate y'all. And Gino, it was a fun night. I like ribbing you, but it definitely was fun time hanging out with you to watch the PLAs. It makes it fun. I usually watched them alone. Now I have my brothers to watch it with.
Yeah, and that does make so whatever we think, you can assume that the show is one number grade lower because we are giving it higher grade because we are having fun watching it with wrestling fans as opposed to by ourselves. Speaking of by ourselves, Oofman is never by himself. He's always joined by Bret Hart and Batman and Bucky's and Bucky Barnes is Captain America Shield when appropriate. Even though we all know it's Steve Rogers is. Where can the people find you?
And you can find me, like Dave said, in my channel, Oofman Entertainment presents Gavin with Oof. It's been a month of many anniversaries where it just brought up to my attention today watching another video. So we've been doing the 30th anniversary of the NWO 1996. Yeah, 30 years. And before we get to the finish line for that, we got another 30th anniversary that I'm actually going to gab about, and everybody's welcome to join in. In a couple weeks, it's going to be 30 years since speaking of King of the Ring, 1996, where Austin 316 was born. So we'll gab about that. And like I said, we're traveling to part 2 of the NWO 30th anniversary with Scott Hall and his big surprise, which leads to the final chapter, part 3, which won't happen till July, when Hollywood Hulk Hogan is born, and that is when the official stamp. We're talking about storylines that don't end. They're going back to WCW, going back to the NWO. Like, they didn't have an end, and same with WWE. We're back to the bloodline. Okay, you hit a jackpot years ago with that big storyline with the bloodline, but we're going back to it again. That's where a little frustrating with me. And now they're going to fight with the MFTs again. It's just it's Groundhog's Day in WWE. Like, we're going back to what made them. Speaking about making money, they're going back to what made them money. Well, lightning doesn't strike twice, so whatever. So we're going to talk about 30 years ago, where the business was in a different place than it is now. Back then, they relied on pay-per-view numbers. They relied on audience feedback. That was their bread and butter. Without it, they would perish. But now, like we're talking, I brought it back just to make a final note on this subject. I brought it in another chat. Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley were being interviewed, and they were asked, what's different from the NBA today than in your day? And Jordan said, I had to step up my game and play good to get these guaranteed contracts, where nowadays these kids are coming out of college or even high school and they're already given guaranteed contracts. It's like WWE. Like you said, Gino, they're given these contracts, multi-billion-dollar contracts from Netflix, from NBC Universal. Once you have that money made, what's the point of the effort? Like, they're buying the product regardless of what it is. You could put Seth Rollins versus a broomstick, but guess what? They had the guaranteed contract. So that's probably what's spoiling wrestling today, where what effort does creative have to do? They got their money, they got paid, the cash is checked, the checks have been cashed. Saudi pays them, they have their deal, runs out in another 2 years. Why put the effort? Like, all right, let's just throw these people out there. Or why have storylines make sense? Like, we're talking about the frustration with Oba and other people. Why don't they have to do it? Because they don't have to. And it's sad. I'm just with you. So, and just like you, Gino, I'm a big sports fan too. Make fun of me if you want. I am a Mets fan. I am frustrated with the way the team is performing this year, but I'm not saying I could coach the Mets better. I don't think you and all of us and everybody, all the crew, we're not saying we can run WWE better. I don't think we're saying that. We're just saying, as lifelong wrestling fans, we're just frustrated because we know it could be better. We know they can do better, but they're just, in our eyes, they're choosing not to. And again, it goes with the sports fan in all of us. We have our sports teams. When, again, the Mets, they're horrible this year, I'm still going to wear my hat. I'm going to still wear my jersey. I'm still going to go to games, but I would like them to do something to not be 65,000 games under 500, where give us a competitive sports team where I'm still a proud Mets fan, but a little embarrassing this year. So it's just that I think it's the guaranteed contracts that ruin it. But like you said, in the end of the day, unfortunately, it is all about business.
Absolutely. Yeah. So go check out Oofman Entertainment when he starts doing videos again about stuff that happened before I gained consciousness, or after I gained consciousness. You'll see me back on there again. Otherwise, I'm just watching, liking and subscribing to his channel and stuff, and just watching the Stone Cold clips and the Scott Hall stuff on documentaries and stuff like that. But go check it out. We got a lot of anniversaries coming up, and looking forward to hearing him go off on. We got a bunch of movies coming up. I look forward to discussing all of that. And so thank you so much, guys, for watching Major Push Wrestling, whether it's live or on demand. We appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a comment, the live chat. Thank you to everybody in the live chat. Thank you to Noah. Thank you to Dave. Thank you to Oofman. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share this video with a friend. Hit that bell icon. Do all the things. If you watched YouTube more than once, you know what we're supposed to do at the end of these videos. So until next time, guys, as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.